Hey guys, Nolar here. I'm on the 5-9 Gaming channel, joined by Gale. Say hello.
Hello everybody, how's everybody doing today?
And I've got ToonRami with us.
Hello. What's up, guys?
Hey, so we're basically going to cover just the Dokkan stuff that was revealed during the Dragon Ball Z Games Battle Hour. So basically, it wasn't an hour, it was 12 hours, but it was a pretty fun event, and it's pretty cool. I mean, just in general, just to speak wax poetically about it, it was really nice to see that they brought in a ton of different Dragon Ball games for us to enjoy. The Budokai stuff, the fighters, the legends, all that stuff was really, really fun. Well produced for the most part. But we were all waiting, chomping at the bit to hear anything related to Dokkan Battle, and we've got a couple of things to talk about, so let's not waste any time and hop right in. So the first thing they decided to talk about was this thing here about version Z. I'm paraphrasing, but they were basically saying that this is going to be a big update coming to help give veteran players some more content to do, or at the same time help newer players get adjusted to the game and have things to do along those lines. So version Z, what are your thoughts? Let's start off with Gale. Anything that kind of stands out to you in particular?
The name itself, I mean, it definitely seems like an overhaul. I personally think it's going to be a massive overhaul. I mean, when you think about Dokkan nowadays, you still think of it as a bubble tapping game. And when you compare it to especially newer gachas like Genshin and whatnot, the system seems a bit archaic. It's the same thing with some other gachas like FGO and Grand Blue Fantasy, right? But the thing with Grand Blue Fantasy and FGO is that they have the story to carry them, right? Dokkan relies on the anime, and the anime not being present for 2 years, it's kind of hard for them to manage at the same time. Obviously, they rely on the IP more than the content within the game at this point in time. So with this update, I really hope that we get to see maybe a potential revamp of the gameplay itself, maybe, because the way it's stated, like version Z, we've never had this sort of an announcement ever. I was talking to somebody earlier on about this, and I'm like, more than Saiyan Day, I'm more interested in this because it's just like everything about this screams overhaul. Like this is gonna be a change in Dokkan. This is going to be basically Dokkan 2.0. It quite literally could be Dokkan 2.0. But yeah, no, I'm very, very interested to see how they're going to overhaul it. Will we have maybe a new story mode for players to go through, potentially? Are they going to revamp that? Maybe they're going to revamp how, you farm characters. Who knows? Like, it's going to be very interesting.
Okay. Toon, what are your thoughts on this?
When I thought of this, I immediately thought about the same name update. So the main thing that Dokkan players are looking forward to is the fact that we're going to be getting this long-awaited same name update where we can basically... It lifts the restriction on team building to an extent, and this was a pretty big deal. So the fact that they're calling it version Z, like Gale says, it speaks to this like revolutionary change. It has to be something monumental where they would give it the moniker of version Z, because usually, they would give it a number or some sort of ID, So the fact that they're labeling it as version Z, I would like to think that including whatever else that they have in there, they're going to have the same name update, because that fits exactly what they were talking about. They didn't really say much, but they said this is something that will be appealing to veteran players and also make newer players more intrigued, or there would be a higher appeal factor to jumping into the game. And I would think that being able to assemble more teams would probably add to that appeal factor and also cater to the existing player base. So it's got to be something relating to the same name update, and whatever else they include, I'm fine with it. But honestly, that's all I care about personally. I like Dokkan the way that it is. I do understand it's a very old gacha game, so they do need to kind of keep with the times, especially with Dragon Ball not having any episodes happening in any capacity except for the promotional anime. So yeah, same name update. As long as that's in there, I'm good.
Yeah, when I heard about this, I thought the same thing like you, Toon. The same name update was coming, and that's a lot of fun when you think about it. Running all the rosés together, running all the golden Friezas, all that stuff. It just seems like a fun idea. But that's more indicative to kind of their outlook and their projection of what they want to do with the game. So if I'm going to take a 20,000 foot view, if you think about how Dokkan was operating in year 5, it was just kind of going by the numbers. We're just running through the motions, and therefore we all felt kind of tired, a little burnt out, I would say. It wasn't anything invigorating with some of the mechanics. Yeah, sure, partner super attacks and all that kind of stuff like helped a little bit, but we haven't really seen a whole lot. I mean, we've seen something now, but it hasn't been very prominent, right? But when you look at year 6, which for JP we just finished, you could tell that the direction is very different than it was for year 5. So it's either the game director got their butts kicked from upper management saying like, this wasn't going well for year 5. We didn't hit that many top grossings, etc., etc. You guys got to kick it into gear, and they're like, yeah, this is the plan. With you look at UI Goku getting his EZA, the int one, jumping a bunch of different Dokkan Fests who, by the timeline should have been getting their EZA first. They're like, nope, we're going to go with the theme, go with UI Goku. And then, of course, LR Goku and Frieza, they got their EZAs, and that was a big deal. Because if there's any summonable LRs that would have gotten it, would have been the 90% leads, right? But here we go with the theme of U7. So them implementing version Z, the same name update, it just means that they're really taking a hard look at how to improve the game. And to me, it's not a sign of the game slowing down at all. You know what I mean? They wouldn't be putting this much effort into revamping the system, whether it's actually like a new story mode or a new gameplay mode, like akin to Chain Battle in the sense that it's just not bubble tapping, it's something else. They wouldn't be dumping those resources into the game if they were moving on to something else. Like version Z to me sounds like Dokkan 2.0 without actually making a separate APK called Dokkan 2.0. It's just a whole revamp unto itself. So
yeah, I'll also add on to one point is that last year, one thing I noticed as well compared to the other years we've had is that they were extremely on it when it came to surveys. Like, I think it was like every 2 to 3 months it would be a survey, whereas usually in past years it would only be like, okay, anniversary and then maybe worldwide celebration and that's it. Yep. Last year I feel like we got at least minimum like 4 surveys at minimum. So you can tell that they were looking at trying to get as much like details from players if they could to be able to potentially add it to this special update. So hopefully they've taken notes from whatever we've said in those surveys.
Yep. Anything else to add, Toon?
I mean, that's pretty much it. All I care about is that this announcement is worth it, because I think a lot of the Dokkan players were pretty, I'm not gonna say upset, but maybe disheartened by the lack of real tangible announcements in this little event that they had here, because every single other game or property had some sort of real tangible announcement for people to hold on to and be excited about. Whereas Dokkan really just was given promises or indications of something to come. So I hope that this is actually worth the fact that we were barely told anything now and it pays off later. So whatever that entails, as long as they make it worth our while, I'm fine with it.
I mean, they just gave you a bunch of promises. They just got to execute it to make it worth it, right? So hopefully they do that. Just real quickly, when do you think we'll see version Z? And I'm assuming that's going to be on JP first. So with that in mind, how soon do you think that'll happen?
I don't know, because it all depends on how revolutionary we're talking. Like if we're talking a simple same name update and then a couple other tweaks here and there, I could see it happening very soon. If it's something massive in scope, this would probably take a little while longer. Plus, we do have until Saiyan Day for another announcement, so maybe they're using the next week and a half to finalize whatever they're working on here.
I think there's 3 options. There is obviously Saiyan Day, which is the closest. If they have worked on it for a very long time and they're now collating it, it's why maybe year 5 was so slow, is because they may have been working for this particularly the whole year, right? Or the second option is Goku Day. I think that would work really well. This sort of an update I think is going to come out both versions at the same time. I don't see it being split up. Like the way they've been promising this, it does seem like it's going to be a double update on both versions. I think it's Goku Day, but if they actually have to take a while, still a lot longer, worldwide celebration is their best case scenario.
Yeah, so something like this doesn't seem like the right time for them to distinguish between JP and Global, right? This is the Dokkan brand in general. And when you talk about appealing to the newer player base, if you were to then throw in the stipulation that, oh, by the way, we meant JP, that's not, going to look very good.
Another thing to note, they didn't specifically say for this one whether it was coming to Global for JP first or if it was coming to both versions, because for the announcements that came after it, they specifically stated, "Oh, this is coming on both versions. The other thing is coming specifically to JP first, and
that's
then
right,
global
sorry.
at later days."
That's
So we
true.
still don't exactly know which one of the two it is, but I'm leaning more towards, like I said, it's gonna be on both versions at the same time, I feel.
I think it's going to be both because they prefaced it with this. So this
Yeah,
is the
that's true.
all-encompassing announcement, and then they sort of went into the various corners of Dokkan. So I think this
Exactly.
will be something that happens for both versions at once.
Yep.
Well, whenever that comes, I'm kind of excited. I mean, I was already looking pretty happy with the direction of the game, just based on year 6 anniversary for JP. But with this keeps the blood going. So let's move on real quick and talk about the Saiyan Day. They kind of mentioned a little bit. They obviously didn't say a ton of stuff. They did say that it's going to be a Dokkan now on March 16th, because Saiyan Day is March 18th. What are you guys hoping to see?
I don't really have any expectations other than they're going to reveal a unit, and whatever that unit is, it's going to be good. That's all. I really never, I never really had an idea for what I would want this year. I have always said, this is a very bad take, so I'll be quick. I've always said that I wanted a King Vegeta, because I feel like that is one part of the Dragon Ball space or timeline that they haven't really touched over. So I would like to see that, but based on what's been happening recently, it seems like it's going to be more of a Broly type deal.
Yeah.
But I don't really expect much from this Dokkan now, other than just them announcing the Saiyan Day unit, really.
Honestly, if they want to keep up with the whole, oh, we're giving back to the players, we're gonna just, screw balance kind of thing. If it is Broly, the only thing I'd say, like, if we see Broly, and I would be the first person to expect we might get an announcement from maybe an LR S tier Broly EZA, but that's assuming it is Broly themed, because I'm still unsure, because Saiyan Day hasn't necessarily ever followed a particular theme. They've always jumped around,
Right.
for the most part. So I'm not gonna say like, oh, it is confirmed Broly or Bio Broly or whatever it may be, right? But if it is, I'd say LR tier Broly. I'd hope at least maybe, because to be honest, I'll still maintain he deserved an EZA more than Goku and Frieza. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah. Apart from that, like I said, I mean, it's to be expected. I personally wasn't expecting an announcement today because, well, Goten and Trunks literally came out 3 days ago. They wouldn't kill their own banner so quickly, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not too surprised that we didn't get any particular announcement for Saiyan Day, but at least we know when it's coming. So, I mean, we already knew when it was coming, but at least we have a Dokkan now to look forward to as well.
Yeah, to me, this all this was just an announcement for an announcement. So
Yeah.
we all know that.
they've been taking tips from legends.
Yeah, they've been taking notes. So yeah, I don't have too much to really say about Saiyan Day. We knew that was coming. That's always the timeline. I wasn't expecting them to show anything, so I'm not disappointed at all. I just know that on March 16th, we will definitely be covering it here on 5-9 Gaming, probably on our Twitch channel, and then VODed up later on the Uncut channel on 5-9. All right, last thing that they talked about with is Pettan Battle. Now, everyone thought this looks like a April Fool's jokes, and I thought so too for a little bit, but then they went on about it quite a long time, and I realized, okay, they wouldn't just really elaborate on this kind of stuff if this was the case. But from what they described, it was just saying that the gist of it was something you could do, something that the game could be playing on its own while you were gone. And the first thing that popped in my mind was something akin to like Legends Adventures, or even an idle version of a game like AFK Arena, where they just earn Zenny XP items over accumulated time till you get back into the application. So, thoughts on Pettan Battle? Toon, why don't you start us off?
I have literally no idea. I don't even know where to begin. It's like a chibi petite version of Dokkan in that's about all I know. I also thought that based on what they had said, because they said, I think verbatim, they said it is Dokkan Battle in a deformed style. I think that's the phrase that they
Super
used.
deformed. Yeah, super deformed.
Okay, sorry, yeah, super deformed style. So I don't even know what to take of all this. Like, is this an offline mode? Is this a mode where you just leave the phone, it does its thing kind of on auto as you do something else? I don't exactly know what they're trying to go for here. I got nothing. I literally have no idea what this could be.
All right. Okay. Well, with the gotcha veterans as myself and Gail here, Gail, give us some thoughts. What you think this could be?
A lot of possibilities. Obviously, the first thing I'd say is this goes kind of in line with what they were saying of like, oh, we want to make it more accessible for players and easier for new players to get into, right? This allows people to, like, oh, if I'm asleep or if I'm like, doing work or something, I can just put my phone to the side and let it grind medals for me, potentially, right? On the other hand, for veteran players, like they said, they want to help veteran players as well. This might help out with link leveling as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how much we can do with this, but to me, like you said, it does seem more of an idle mode, kind of like an AFK arena style game, quote unquote. But for me, more so, I think how they should go about it potentially is more so like how Digimon Rearise does it, where you basically have a widget on your home screen and you put it on your home screen and like the Digimon can get items for you or grind items for you, basically hunt down items, kind of, right? Similar to that, this could be the same thing where it actually goes out of its way to get items or link level or whatever it may be. So in my eyes, I can see it being some sort of widget, but at the same time, I mean, like we mentioned, we have still no idea. They just said, like you guys mentioned in verbatim, it's a super deformed version of Dokkan Battle, right? So again, we have no ideas, but I'd like it to be a widget, if anything, because that'll just, slap it on my home screen of my emulator or my phone, and boom, I can just go about my day.
This could be maybe some sort of like scaled down preview version of Dokkan, where like you're kind of getting a taste for the game minus super heavy investment in summons and all that stuff. Maybe that's what they're going for, like because of the whole petite and chibi vibe that you're getting here. Maybe it's like, all right, if you want the real deal, jump into Dokkan, but if you want a little taste of what's going on, try Peton instead and see what the game has in store for you. Maybe that's what they're going for. I don't know. It's all brand new. We literally have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, based on what they're describing, like I just literally thought it's gonna be a separate mode in the game where you would let stuff like adventures and journeys to go get you items every hour, 2 hours, whatever. Because it says specifically to help out new players. Like, as a new player, like if you start a new account, the biggest issue you run into are Zenny, medals, training items. So like if you had a specific mode where you ran out of stamina, you don't want to use a Dragon Stone to refresh your stamina, you're just gonna let it sit there for like 4 or 5 hours. Why not let it do an adventure mode where it levels up the character for you, right? And gets you some training items or some awakening medals or some meat or anything along those lines. Is the longer you leave them out, like that's the thing that came to my mind, and it's a staple of every gacha, right? Because the whole point of those systems is to get you checking the app consistently. And the thing with Dokkan is it's your stamina gated, right? If you don't have the stamina, you can't run the thing. So if you're waiting for your stamina to get by, well then there's no reason for you to check in on the app. So like 2-3 years ago, when I was done grinding ranked 999, I would just burn my stam and turn off the game for like 12 to 14 hours, which is not something you want as an app developer. You don't want that to happen to your player base. You want them in there every 2-3 hours, constantly checking in, because every time you check in, there's a chance of you buying something. So, speaking from the whale on a lot of gacha games. So, look, it's something new. We don't know a lot. There's a lot. We're just spitballing a bunch of ideas. I think it's exciting. Again, this could be tied to. It's probably tied to version Z, right? So. Yeah, that we'll all see this come up. So yeah, go ahead.
My only hope is that they maintain the casual play style of Dokkan, though. That's my only concern, because like I said, like that's one thing I love about the gachas that I play. FGO, Dokkan, whatever it may be, is like they're pick up and play games. There are some gachas out there that are heavy investment, heavy time investment. STS Grand Cross, Epic 7. These are some to name. Grand Chase as well. These are titles that take up a lot of your time. You have to keep either your device on, let it auto, or you have to pay attention, do PvP, raids, whatever it may be, right? Whereas Dokkan, like you mentioned, I can hop in for like half an hour to an hour, probably close my device, come back after 4 to 5 hours, and then do whatever I want to do again, or do it later on, right? So I hope they maintain that. And so it seems like they aren't going to maintain it, but we'll see. Of course, we still have very little information to go about, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Alrighty, guys. Well, any last words before we close this out?
Just be good.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much the same here. Like, as I said, I just wanted to be maintaining the same style, and I'm happy.
Yeah, there's a lot of promises here. If they can stick the landings on all of them, I think this game has another 6 years ahead itself. So
Yep.
there's a lot to hope for here. But you guys let us know in the comments below. What are you thinking? Is the Peton Battle interesting to you? Is version Z going to be Dokkan 2.0 without actually being Dokkan 2.0? And Saiyan Day, like, it's coming soon. It's a couple of weeks from now, so we'll find out. But let us know in the comments below. If you're new here, like the content, hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you all next time. On behalf of Toon and Gale and myself, we're out.